It's okay. It's okay.
What's okay?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Okay, Bazaars.
If you're wondering, should I? Is it time? Will I be accepted? It's okay. It's the 1st of November. If people are going to judge you for it in your life, they shouldn't be in your life. If you're waiting till November, like, you should have started in July. I don't stop. You know? If the question is, should I be playing Last Christmas? The answer is, why are you waiting? It's okay to play Last Christmas. It's November. 'Tis the season. Dori,
Okay.
you have permission from that 80s show, an award-winning podcast yet again. I feel like Milli Vanilli every time we open up our emails. We get another award. As I say, in a deeply menacing voice, how are you, Dori?
It's hot, hey?
Ah, Dori.
Joburg summer, hey?
People don't give a shit about our conditions. They just care about what is happening.
No, I'm saying it's a hot summer.
In the 1980s.
It used to be hot in the 80s, but not as lethal. Or was it more lethal?
We are officially that podcast where we open up talking about the weather.
Ah, sorry.
Yes, we are. Now, that is where we are. Listen, it is okay to play Last Christmas. There are so many things happening around Last Christmas. Dori, I did not realize this. Last Christmas is celebrating its 40th anniversary, as are many, 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 many things.
Yes.
1984 was a massive year. Music.
Yeah.
Movies, TV shows. So much came out. And so many things celebrating their 40th anniversary. There's a lot of celebration around Last Christmas this year for the 40th anniversary. We'll get number one. We love Last Christmas. If you don't love Last Christmas, consider all your choices in life. And it is countdown. I think we're probably 45, 46 days away from me releasing the Paulo cut of Last Christmas, yes.
Oh.
Yes, every time this year, a little treat gets dropped in the social media feeds, my homage to the Last Christmas video. BBC are doing some interesting stuff. BBC Two and BBC Music are presenting Last Christmas Unwrapped. Ooh, it's like a extravaganza bonanza of where they're getting together all the characters.
Is Andrew Ridgeley cashing in on this? Like, is he featuring in all this stuff?
I think we speak about this every year because this is his big moment. He gets wheeled
He's
out.
like Mariah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, more important, obviously.
He's busy defrosting.
Yes.
They're defrosting him right now.
Yes.
So that they can bring him out in his white jumpsuits. He loves a white jumpsuit this time of year. And he will definitely be there, and they'll be telling the story of what turned Wham into a cultural phenomenon. Music producers, industry experts, artists. It'll be a Christmas TV special. And I can get behind that. We don't do enough Christmas specials in South Africa anymore. Have you noticed that?
Was it you and Huisgenoot though?
It didn't matter.
I'm just saying,
But
they used to do it, now they not.
They might still, but like, it's not, we just don't do that stuff anymore. I miss it. This is going to be like, they're going to tell the story of how they made the song, how they made the music video. Listen, I mean, I consume a lot of Wham media. So none of it is, I've seen the stuff before, I've read about it.
We've all looked at that. There was that video, 40 facts about the Last Christmas music video. So I think we know everything about it.
I've read Andrew Ridgeley's book.
Yes.
Watched the Wham documentary.
Yeah.
Bathed myself in the juices of Shirley's tears. I did.
I'm sure you did.
They even talk about what happened to the iconic diamond brooch.
The brooch.
The brooch. You know the story behind that.
You did tell it in the past. I don't quite remember it.
Google that. Go Google that. The story of the diamond brooch. It's kind of like the emerald scarab. Is that a thing? I feel that's a thing. Somebody stole it from a tomb.
Like an Egyptian tomb.
A tomb.
Yeah.
I feel that it's that. Mary J. Blige is going to be in this. Bob Geldof, Neil Tennant, Sam Smith.
Oh.
Of course, the surviving members of Wham. Great. Going to be watching that. Last Christmas Unwrapped.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be on the BBC. BBC, they don't like sharing their content.
No.
Like, you cannot.
You have to be in London to watch it.
There is no way you can get around them. They're so clever. You cannot get any BBC content, but it's fine. I mean, should we do a Christmas special? We do every year.
We do.
We do every year. But it's okay. Play it right now when you finished. Something else I saw this week, not many details coming out yet, okay, but it's something worth talking about. A 1990s movie, but very much based on a 1980s book and story. They're remaking American Psycho. And I have one question.
Okay, what's the question? Because I have many questions.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the News? The early work was too little new wave for my taste, but when sports came out in 1983, I think they really came into their own commercially and artistically. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, American Psycho starring... Who did it star? I wanted to say Jason Bateman.
Christian Bale. Christian Bale.
Playing Patrick Bateman. In American Psycho,
also
he was...
had Jared Leto.
Jared Leto was in it, yes. Oh, he was young Jared Leto.
Young, pretty thing.
Oh, man, listen, American Psycho, what a great movie, actually.
Did you read the book?
So, I'm not going to read books.
You're that book.
Too intellectual for me.
That book was hectic.
Really? How is
the book's more hectic than the movie?
A lot. People say that.
Yeah.
People always say that. Whenever you say, "Oh,
there's
this movie,"
a lot they left out.
Oh, have you read the books? Fucking why?
No, they left out stuff. They left out stuff for that movie. Here's question number one from me: Why? Why are they remaking it?
Because they remake everything. Because they know there's a built-in audience. We'd watch it out of curiosity.
But it hasn't even dated barely. I don't think,
well, so listen,
considering it's set when it's set, unless they're going to, don't tell me they're going to put it in a modern context.
Well,
that would suck.
Another American Psycho adaptation, too soon? ? So
yes.
The feeling is, listen, there is very little information about it. It's just kind of like it is
this even true?
Being commissioned, but just no other details. A lot of the conversation this week was around who will play, who will be the main character.
Of course.
Do they go back to the 80s? Do they go? Because the thing about it was he was a investment banker, a stockbroker. High finance.
Yeah, something
High
like that.
Wall Street 80s finance.
It has to be set in the 80s because the business card thing is such a big part of it.
But
that won't translate to today. The music stuff.
Studio.
It was, Phil Collins, Huey Lewis in the News.
Who will he be obsessed with?
Exactly.
Dua
Lipa.
No, come on.
No.
Just the business card.
No.
The business card obsession is
it has to be based in the 80s.
And how do you remake it? But American Psycho is like the whole, people who've read the book say that none of it happened. He imagined everything.
There's two schools of thought about what
people.
it is.
He had like murder people as fun, right? He was like super greedy, super egocentric, loved himself, and would kill people for fun.
So it's unclear. It's also unclear in the book, and it's unclear in the movie about whether it's all in his imagination or whether it really happened. But the problem is that someone who he supposedly killed pitches up at the end of the movie. So you're like, oh,
okay,
that didn't happen then. So if that didn't happen, what else didn't happen?
Okay,
kind of thing.
Are we through the looking glass?
Yeah. So it's one of those make up your own decision type of movies.
I think there's no way they can win, because if they try to set it in a modern context, like when American Psycho came out, there was no thing as Dexter, for example.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It's like you spawn so many people were inspired by what you did. How do you do something? If it's set in the 80s context, people like us are going to shit all over it because go like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you move it on? Or the other one was better because it was closer to the 80s,
it depends how it's done. I'm just wondering why remake it? Okay, there's nothing wrong with the original. It's not that old. It hasn't dated. Christian Bale is still a working actor. Why are we remaking this?
Yeah. Will it be him?
I think he's a bit too old now.
Oh, maybe. They bring him back. They'll do some shit like that. Even just the whole concept of like, I got to return some videotapes.
Exactly.
Like, how does that even work? Can I tell you a story? I'm sure I've told this story before, but biggest fan of the show, cousin Louis. Have you heard the story about how he's accused me of not returning, not the videotapes, but the DVDs?
It sounds familiar. You probably told me.
So there was a period where I was bedridden again, one of my soccer injuries, and I was off my feet for a while, and he bought me American Psycho DVD to watch. This is where we were, American Psycho DVD. And he claims I never gave it back to him. And I claim I definitely gave it back to you. And to this day, it is our biggest argument that I'm adamant I gave it back to him. And I returned the videotapes. I went full Jason Bateman, Patrick Bateman. I returned the videotapes. And he claims I didn't. And I'm on a hunt to find it. Do you know how difficult it is to find American Psycho on DVD?
It's strange that it's so difficult.
It really is. It really is. Because it's a bit of a joke. Good, but see, the problem is if I give it, I've admitted that I need to replace it.
No, you're just trying to end the feud.
I think the feud's
funny. You're not admitting
funny.
Guilt.
It's kind of like the Back to the Future 1 and 2 feud. You know?
Yes.
Good, like, I mean, I'm always right in it, but I like just keeping it going. You know? So that's American Psycho. Something we're not waiting for it. You and I. No. We're not going to wait for it. We're not going to wait for it. Dori, are you scared of the robots? Are you scared of Elon Musk's Tesla robots?
No, I'm very. What's the word? I'm very polite to our robotic overlords, so that when they take over, they will remember my politeness, and they will not kill me.
Are you a person that says please and thank you to ChatGPT for that reason?
Totally am.
Yeah. Fuck you, robots. Fuck you, ChatGPT. I don't care. I don't care. I'm a human. I'm superior to you in every way. Every way. Okay? So go fuck yourselves, right?
I do not share Paulo's beliefs.
I will fight a robot. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Because robots are new to 80s people. Right, people are walking. Elon Musk going, oh, I invented robots. Do you see what it says? It can do everything you can do. It's even got a mode where it watches over you while you sleep and monitors you. Have you seen that? How spooky is that shit? So you know people like wear like rings and stuff to like monitor their sleep or like their Apple Watch or like this robot will watch you as you sleep and monitor all that shit and then also act as security. So if someone breaks into your house, whatever. How scary.
No, that's terrifying. Terrifying.
Okay. And these aren't cute little robots. They're like very menacing. I'll fight them all. Like, I don't care. You know why I'm not scared of robots, Dori?
Because of Johnny Five?
We're going to get into that. Look at your phone battery. It barely lasts.
Yeah.
Why the robot gets up the stairs is going to die. It's going to lose Wi-Fi. How terrible is Wi-Fi in Joburg? I'm not scared of robots.
How are robots alive?
Well, they're not.
Like, are they solar
That's
charged?
The point.
Or battery charged?
They will be
work?
something. Yeah, it's either solar, battery. They'll have a battery on them. The battery will run flat. They'll be on some sort of Wi-Fi.
They plug themselves in.
Okay.
They'll plug themselves in and charge themselves.
Well, theoretically, but just put plugs far away. I'm not scared of the robots.
Okay.
You're
making a good argument.
Yeah. Now, the thing with robots, you see, I'm not scared of them because we've been having robots since the 80s, right?
We have.
We have been. So I went back to the 80s and I was like, okay, let me find robots better than Elon Musk's killbots. Fuck robots. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about some robots from the 80s. I think you spoke about this TV show. I did not like this robot. This is a robot I'm more afraid of than Elon Musk's killbots because it combines one of the scariest things in the world, a little girl ghost. Do you remember the TV show Small Wonder with Vic?
I did not speak about this.
No, you spoke about this. It was a TV show where a man was an inventor and he dabbled, like Elon Musk,
yes,
in his garage, and he made a humanoid robot of a little girl. And
did she speak in a sing-song voice?
She wasn't like that creepy. She spoke normal, but she'd like glitch sometimes. But that was a sitcom about their shenanigans. Her name was V.I.C.I. She was an android in the form of a 10-year-old girl. And she was built to help handicapped children, but he takes her home and he goes, well, I'm just going to keep you around the house to do tasks, have shenanigans. No, not pervy.
Nope.
Not noncy, not creepy. Just
not suspicious.
I just want to have a robot. I'm going to pass her off as an orphan family member who he adopted. And that was 96 episodes Small Wonder ran for. That went on a while. She was creepy as shit. If you don't remember, I'm going to post up a photo, maybe some videos, clips. Small Wonder, even though it was set in the 80s, she was dressed like she was like 1950s, maybe even Victorian era. She had one of those frilly dresses, the long socks.
Okay, I'm Googling it.
She had pigtails. Yeah, Vicky from Small Wonder. When you see her, you know her. I'm more afraid of her than a killbot, okay? So now you've seen that. You see what I'm talking about, Dori?
Oh, God, I do remember this.
You do remember this.
Yes.
Yes, you do remember. It wasn't like, you know, in the 80s, there were a lot of sitcoms, a lot of sitcoms.
Yes.
And of course, for every Who's the Boss, there was a Small Wonder. You know, because they were kind of like, okay, the show's not that good, but put it off to one of the big shows and some people might watch it.
So this was a real kid pretending to be a robot, pretending to be a real kid.
Did you think that? it was played by a robot. It was obviously a child actor.
At first, I thought maybe it was a robot. Then I forgot. No special effects yet.
So just to clarify,
yes, it's a real.
It was a real child playing a robot,
pretending to be a child.
Yes.
How meta can you get?
Well, yeah. Okay. So that's one robot. Another robot that came from the 80s is, we're going to get to the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know we're getting to the big ones. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Twiggy from Buck Rogers?
I loved Twiggy.
Twiggy was kind of like a very C-3PO-ish.
But cooler.
Okay, yeah, C-3PO. Yeah, okay, cool. So Twiggy was from, Buck Rogers.
And Twiggy used to speak in Afrikaans.
Well, only, yeah, exactly. Twiggy. Twiggy had like a big circle opening in the middle of its body. Is Twiggy male or female, or it wasn't assigned?
I don't know, but what I want to check is, was it us who were talking about what year was Buck Rogers set in? Or was I having this discussion with someone else?
Oh, no, not with me, because I would definitely have milked that.
Do you remember what year Buck Rogers was set in?
Well, he was Buck Rogers from the 25th century.
Right.
Okay.
So like hundreds of years to go still.
Yeah, at least 500.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. There's Twiggy.
Yeah. Yes, there we go.
Also a bit childlike.
Yes, very childlike. They were actually, listen, Twiggy was creepy because those robots were created to work in the mines in the Buck Rogers universe, and they were definitely children.
Was there a child inside this?
That is very interesting. We should have
done some research.
There is definitely a child inside there. Again,
I think so.
We're not that advanced, so there is definitely a child inside Twiggy's suit. Labor laws weren't the same in the 1980s as they are now. Another robot from Blade Runner.
Of course.
Roy Batty. Remember him with his peroxide? Is peroxide more grayish? He was one of the robots, was a cyborg.
I mean, most of them were robots.
Yep, he was a combat model replicant. So you didn't know he was a robot. He just looked like a human.
Yes.
But they were in a world of robots.
You did not know.
Of course, we're talking Data from Star Wars.
Star Trek. Oh my God, you committed the cardinal sin.
Oh my God.
Cardinal sin.
You know what? Fuck a Trekkie as well. Take your robots and go fuck all yourselves. Fuck Trekkies. Data was from Star Trek. He was also definitely a robot. He was definitely Sheldon from Big Bang Theory before Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yes. So what we're saying is he was the neurodivergent character. The only way to explain that was robot.
He's a robot.
Yeah.
Dori, that is a great insight, actually. That is a great insight. That is exactly what they wanted to do. They just were scared. They weren't that progressive yet. Okay, so he was from Star Trek. And then, of course, let's get to the big three. We had RoboCop.
Yep.
That's why I'm not scared of Killbot. Because, actually, if you think about RoboCop, how the robots went fucked and they went crazy. But RoboCop saved the day because you still had human in him, right? You're still more human than robot. So that was a better 80s robot than Elon Musk Killbot. This next robot, I think I'm the only person that remembers him. I think I'm the only person that celebrates him. He was definitely made out of a vacuum cleaner. But Robos from Riptide.
Oh, I love that.
I loved Robos. If you don't remember Riptide, it was I loved Riptide. It's on Plex.
Is it?
On Plex every season, every episode, every season of Riptide. What was the Perry?
Joe Perry.
Joe Perry. Both of them. Both the main characters.
Yes.
They were detectives and they lived on a yacht for some unknown reason. You know? And
no explanation needed.
No explanation. And
just like no explanation needed for why Dodd Johnson drove a... Actually, that was explained.
Yeah,
never mind.
And they weren't in Miami. Where were the Riptide guys? Also coastal. Florida. Could have been Florida.
They were maybe.
Maybe Miami.
Maybe.
Okay. And they had a little robot, a nerd friend. The 80s we called them nerds. Just a computer engineer. And he built a robot to help. I don't know what robots did for them. Most of the time he's just serving them cocktails and putting suntan cream on them.
I mean,
and
that stuff.
Handing out condoms. You know, that's mainly what robots...
Useful tasks.
That's mainly... Maybe that only happened on the Plex versions. I don't know. But he was a great robot. Looked a bit like an ant. Like I say, definitely inside him was a vacuum cleaner.
It's so funny. Like, think about it. They create this show, and it's a detective show, and they're solving crimes. And someone goes, you know what the show needs? A robot.
And because it's the 80s, they went, of course it does.
Absolutely correct.
Promoted. Executive producer credits for you. Well done. Because they go, guys, fuck, all we're doing here is Miami Vice. Everyone's going to see it. Not if we put in a robot. Oh, yes. Damn it. And you know who did that?
The differentiator.
You know the guy at the end of the 80s TV shows?
Yes.
Who was on the typewriter?
Stephen J. Cannell.
Throws the paper. It was him. I'm telling you, he came up with it. I don't know if he did the show, but I bet you it was him. And then, of course, best 80s robot. Best robot ever. Big shout? Is it a big shout to say Johnny 5 is the best robot ever?
In your opinion?
No, Dori. I've just given you some robots there.
No, you have.
He's the best of those. RoboCop is close, but RoboCop is a human.
Yeah.
You know, with robotic parts. Johnny 5, best robot ever. Can we say it?
Let's announce it.
It's been 40 years. They've not come up with a better robot. That's why I'm not afraid of killbots. Because you see, I lay the evidence in front of you. We've seen robots.
We've been there. We've been having it.
We thought that's what these robots would do to us. Did they? No. So on that 80s show, we like to go back to the 1980s and talk about TV shows and movies that we have perhaps watched. That's all we talk about. Movies and TV shows that we have watched from the 1980s.
We do talk about it a lot. I mean, you've literally just spoken about a bunch of movies and TV shows.
I think, yeah. I mean, spoken about American Psycho, and yes, I have. What have you been watching that is 1980s adjacent, Dori?
I have something somewhat specific this week, and a show that we have mentioned quite a few times on this podcast.
Right.
You even mentioned The Star earlier when you made a mistake and said Jason Bateman.
Was it really?
Was it? I mean,
or was
it's
it just
never
a little
mistake.
Easter egg?
It's never a mistake.
You know? Yeah.
I decided to go down the rabbit hole of, I mean, we all know what Jason Bateman is now and everything, and we love him and all that stuff. But I had forgotten some stuff about like his earlier work, and I thought, let me revisit. And in this rabbit hole that I found myself in, I found a specific double episode of a series that is on YouTube to watch, and I watched it and it all came flooding back. It was just in my brain, it just needed to be triggered. I'm talking about It's Your Move.
Why am I absolutely blank on It's Your Move?
It's Your Move was one of the early shows that Jason Bateman was in. He was 15 because it came out in 1984.
Is this the public service announcement? No, it's not. Okay, I got the. Okay, I'm getting.
It's Your Move. I'm
memories
going to
unfogging.
remind you. He is a teenage kid named Matthew. He's got an older sister. They live with the mom. She's divorced. He is a bit of a scamster. So he like runs this little business at school where he sells exam papers and all that kind of stuff. He's a total scamster, basically. And then what happens is...
He's a cheeky chap, as we
very
like to say.
cheeky. He's very cheeky. And I mean, that's probably why we all fell in love with Jason Bateman, because he was very cheeky and very cute. In the show, a man moves in next door named Norman.
Yes.
Who starts dating his mother. And they become like adversaries.
Of course.
Yes.
I'm the man of the house.
Because Norman...
I'm providing.
Norman
Here comes
sees
Norman.
exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
The
Fuck
mom
you,
and the
Norman.
sister are clueless as to what Matthew's getting up to.
Okay.
That he's the scamster. But
Okay.
Norman sees it straight away. So they have
Party
this
pooper
like...
Norman.
No, but they have like a really funny interaction.
Okay.
So the episode that I happened upon, which is one of the most famous episodes, and like I said, two-parter, called The Dregs of Humanity.
No one uses the word dregs anymore.
Right?
No.
But I did use the word dregs, and I was like, where did I get that from? And then this came back into my brain. And this is definitely where I got it from.
Right.
So the scam is that Matthew is supposed to organize a band for the school dance, loses the money, so can't get a band.
What an 80s plot are we already in here?
Really,
Right.
already.
We've got all the things. We've got school dance.
Yep.
You got the main character being given a task probably to prove someone wrong. Somebody probably said, I bet you can't do it.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And then he does it, achieves it, but then, of course, something goes wrong.
So it's him and his friend Eli. And Eli loses the money somehow.
Eli sounds like a problem.
Eli is a problem.
I don't know Eli.
Eli's very funny. He's a very good sidekick.
Okay. Sidekick, though.
Yeah, he is a sidekick.
Okay.
He loses the money. So, of course, Matthew has to come up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
They audition a whole bunch of really terrible acts.
Okay.
It's a very funny montage-y type scene.
Right.
Where they go through these auditions.
Do we have in that montage of acts a lot of 80s stereotypes? Like the emo, the new wave. Are there flock of seagull hairstyles?
No, not really. There is a bunch of women who look very 80s.
Okay.
3 very sexy women.
Right.
And Eli's like, this is the band. And it's very funny because Matthew says to them, you look great, but you don't seem to have any musical instruments. What is it you guys do exactly? And then the one woman says, we get a guy out of the crowd and beat him up. That's what we do.
Jeez.
That's our act. Yeah.
Also on Plex.
Probably.
Yeah.
So they didn't hire them. They also had like this weird, what's the best way to describe it? Like you would see at a beer fest.
Step back, those sexy ladies. How many of them were wearing white high heels?
No, but the one was wearing black spandex pants.
I knew there was spandex involved. I had that feeling. High ponies with the scrunchie?
I don't quite remember.
No.
I think just like big hair.
Okay.
Big
Okay.
curly
Good.
hair.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Very 80s looking.
Yes. Okay, good.
Very 80s looking woman.
That's what I want to know.
Then there was like a German band looking, like you would see at a beer fest.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
There were these 2 guys and they each had like a cymbal, the cymbal from a drum kit attached to their stomachs, and they would run towards each other and bash into each other, and that was their act.
Didn't those guys win America's Got Talent or something? I'm pretty sure I saw that.
So anyway, we go through this montage of all these terrible acts that absolutely won't work.
But what's he going to do now?
Well, so
What's
Eli's
he gonna
like,
do?
oh my God, I can't believe we're in this situation. All we saw was the dregs of humanity. And Jason Bateman goes, oh, that's it. So he creates a band. He goes and gets skeletons out of the science lab at school, dresses them up, puts on a show. It's actually extremely well done. They work the skeletons like puppets. They have I don't know where the music came from. It's decent, cool rock music, lots of smoke machine. Anyway, huge success. Everyone at the school goes mad for this band.
Right.
Huge. Things get out of control because then the press hear about the band and they suddenly want to book them for like concerts. It just spirals and spirals and spirals out of control.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you. I think you should watch it because it's a really fun episode.
No, Dori, no one's going to watch that shit.
Okay.
Right? People aren't us. They come here to hear about it.
All right.
Right? Because this episode must have been so notable. On the Wikipedia page,
Yeah,
it's actually got its own section.
exactly.
It's the only episode this TV show ran for not long. Not long. One season, right?
Yeah.
From September to February. Okay, fine. But this episode, so yes, the band spirals out of control. I'm taking from the Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Everyone gets in on it. Who is this band? We want them. They get booked to play the Palladium.
Yes.
And offered $20,000 to play there. Now, Jason Bateman, the Scamp's character, I've got a problem.
But he's like, but I want the money.
But I want
so
the
he's
money.
like, we're going to make this work.
Okay. So in it,
The other funny thing, let me just tell you, the other funny thing is his sister gets this huge crush on the singer.
who's a skeleton.
Literally a skeleton, but all she has seen is this, like, shadowy figure on a stage.
Yeah, but
Can't really see much.
chicks love those
And
like
then it's
really
very
long,
funny because
skinny
then
guys.
people come out with stories about how I met them backstage
Yeah.
once.
So that's what I'm reading here. The myth about them just like becomes so big.
He gets contacted by this woman who says, the lead singer is the father of my baby. It's so funny. And this is actually the cool thing about this show is that it's extremely dated in so many ways, but it actually is still funny.
So
Genuinely funny.
what then happens is he's spinning.
Yeah.
I'm taking the money. We're going to do this thing. Norman starts suspecting, because Norman's a party pooper,
So Norman
this band doesn't
did
exist.
an interview in inverted commas with
Okay.
his band. I mean, because he's a writer. That's his thing.
Okay.
He's a journalist. So he does an interview with them, which they they somehow managed to like convince him that he'd interviewed the band. Also very well done.
So tell me now, because the next line I'm going to read, is Norman in on saving Jason Bateman's ass?
At the end, yes.
Okay, because what then Norman comes up with the idea is, let's kill off the band. Okay, because they're not,
everything's spiraling out of control.
If they're not going to show up, you're getting sued.
And people want to be, many people are saying, like this one guy's like, I'm their original manager. This other guy's like, they stole one of my songs. And again, the woman saying, he's the father of my baby.
So they
to make
decide
it go
to
away,
kill off
let's
the band.
just kill the band.
Yeah. So the band drove off a cliff.
Yeah.
And they died.
Yeah.
And that is the end.
And it's easy because they just found the clothes in the sea because there were no bodies.
There were no bodies. And then it gets later revealed in another episode that the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's outstanding. That's like a movie.
It's so good.
2 parts of that.
It is so good.
Okay, so maybe I will watch that, actually.
It's worth it.
Okay,
it's worth it.
Dori's going to pop up
Jason
the link.
Jason is very young. Very, very
15.
young. 15, yeah. He's a little kid.
I mean, he was a child actor, but even for that, I mean, he's still quite young. What did he, I mean, he must have done, he must have gone just after that blown up.
Yeah. It was one of the things on his road to success.
And probably that's why it didn't last longer than a season. He kind of like had other things
I'll tell you why it didn't last. I actually looked it up. It didn't last because it was in the same time slot as Dynasty.
Yeah, you're not. I'm sorry. Bones on it. You got one good episode and you're trying to take on Dynasty.
Yeah.
You've made one
Dynasty
episode.
one.
Yeah. So
Alexis one.
Always. And I mean, that's the moral of the story. Alexis Carrington is always going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And, the sooner you accept that, the better. And no one will be disappointed. Dori, I like that. It's your move.
Yeah.
I know I said no one will watch it, but I'm actually going to go back on that.
Yeah. It's really worth watching. It's
watch
funny.
it. It sounds good. It's
very entertaining.
You'd watch that in what's it called? If it was in It's Sunny in Sunny in Philadelphia, you'd watch that.
So it's like 47 minutes or whatever of your time, and you'll enjoy every minute of it.
I'll tell you what, it's better than my movie.
Is it?
Oh, Dori.
It's because it's J-Bay. Can't be J-Bay.
Look, I got a Kurt Russell.
Okay.
I got a Kurt Russell. I've got into a weird space with my movies now. Here's the thing. I keep getting such weird movies that I'm almost like I'm desensitized.
I think Monkey Shines might have broken you.
Yeah, I know. I like when I watch a movie that's like really bad, but I'm desensitized. I'm like a foot person on OnlyFans now, but with bad movies. If someone had to start an OnlyFans of bad movies, I'd pay anything. Where they just like show me a bad movie on OnlyFans, I was like, yeah, I want to watch it. Like, eat some whispers while we're doing, that's where I am now. I can't get excited about normal bad movies anymore.
You've gone too far down the hole.
I'm broken. I'm broken. So this is where I am now.
Okay.
So I tried. You know what the thing was? I was lazy. You see, because the thing is, for the longest time, you're going to go find, okay, let's go look at all the streaming services, what 80s movies are on there, right?
Yeah.
But you see, I can't do that. I've really got to go into weird places to find my 80s movies. And so I watched this. This was on Amazon, on Prime, starring Kurt Russell and Robin Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Weird pairing. I got to tell you, Dori, it's going to be sacrilege, I'm going to say. I've always been on the fence about him, but I don't like Robin Williams. Never did.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I don't like it.
I'm shocked.
No, I don't like him. I've never liked him. I think what really did it for me was the one where, was he iRobot or was Will Smith iRobot? Whichever one.
He was the Bicentennial Man.
That one.
Speaking of robots.
That one. Oh, yeah, I'm scared of that.
That wasn't a great robot.
No, he'd bore me to death.
Yeah, no,
because
that wasn't a good robot.
That movie felt like it was 2,000 years old.
It was horrible.
It didn't stop. It never stopped.
That was terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Talking of bad robots, but these are the 90s. Well, it wasn't an 80s robot. So I couldn't lift him out. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like Robin Williams.
What about in his other roles? What about...
I don't like Patch Adams. I couldn't stand the genie in Aladdin. Good Morning Vietnam was just so over the top.
What?
I liked Good Morning Viet. I don't like him. I like Mork and Mindy. That was it. No. That was it. It ended there. I don't like Robin Williams. Mrs. Doubtfire. Come on. What are we talking about?
It's a genre.
Maybe the Birdcage. Then he did all this.
Poet Society?
No. Oh God, no. There were later ones, the one where he was like the serial killer who got people's photos, like
that was horrible.
That
1
was
hour photo.
Yeah,
that was terrible. What dreams may come?
Oh, terrible, horrible, fuck, Jesus, terrible.
Okay, I'm going to stop trying.
Can't do it.
Jumanji was great.
No, Robin Williams, I don't like him.
So you think that these were good movies, but they should have had someone else in them?
I don't. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying they weren't good movies. I'm just saying I don't like him.
Okay.
And I think it's okay to not like him. It's fine.
So what is this movie?
So this movie made me realize I don't like him. Okay, because it is purely a vehicle for Robin Williams, because they evidently had nothing else but him. So they went, okay, dude, you just carry this movie. And I think that's what happens with him sometimes. When he's given too much, he's too much. So this movie's set in this like real little nowhere town. It's called The Best of Times. It's a football movie.
Wow,
Okay?
never heard of it.
Wow, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it ticked my box of, this is weird. Big name actors, but nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell and Robin Williams, right? No one knows about it.
It's on Amazon?
A couple others, yeah. So we're in this town, and the opening monologue is obviously, it's narrated by Robin Williams talking about the history of this town. And this town has a rival town. And they talks like over like 150, 200 years, all these tragedies. And as the town like builds up something, it has something bad happen to it. And then while it's like up and down, the rival town just keeps going from strength to strength to strength. And a lot of it gets centered around the school football team. So even though they talk about this disaster that happened in the town, he remembers the football result of the two high schools, the two rival teams' high schools. He remembers the score that year. And then he talks about there was like a plague of rats that like just completely took over the town. And that year, this was the score in the football game. So as he tells us, so it becomes very evident that like these high school football teams are everything. So we then now in modern day, and he now tells the story of when him and Kurt Russell were in the high school football team, and it was the final game was the first time they were about to beat the rival school. And Kurt Russell was the star quarterback through 6 touchdown-winning touchdowns. Through 6 touchdown passes. Sorry, I should know better. I do a sports podcast.
Yeah, but we don't do American football.
Oh, we do.
Do you?
Yeah, we do everything. Sports entertainment.
Okay.
Working Title FC. Take a listen if you like sports. And so he's like the best football player either town has ever produced. He could have become a pro, Kurt Russell. And now they're going to beat the team for the first time. Robin Williams is open. He throws the ball to him, and Robin Williams drops it. And we're now going 20 years later, and no one has ever let him forget it. So he's now working for the bank that his father-in-law owns. And his father-in-law is actually from the other town and keeps rubbing it in his face about this ball that he dropped. And holds it over him and goes, the worst day of his life was when his daughter married him, and just really holds it over Robin Williams. Kurt Russell's kind of become like the high school football star. He's an artist. He does like really cool designs on people's cars, but he's also a mechanic. But he's kind of like just happy, never fulfilled. He could have been an NFL star, but it doesn't happen. And Robin Williams is haunted by the fact that he dropped this ball, because that's all anybody knows of him. He's a bank manager, but it's like everyone knows you only got that job because your father-in-law and you dropped the ball. And people keep like when he walks into a diner, they throw something to him. So it's that, right? It's that.
It's like lifelong bullying.
It's lifelong bullying. He has,
Wow.
I can't make out if his therapist is a prostitute or he goes to a prostitute and for therapy. But anyway, he keeps going out to this woman who now he tells, and they come up with the idea of, she goes, why don't you just replay the game? Why don't you just exercise all the demons, replay the game? So Robin Williams is like, shit, let's do it. We're going to replay the game. We're going to relive our high school glory. Well, redeem ourselves.
Yes.
So he first goes to his father-in-law to get the other team together. His father-in-law's, fuck yes, I'll get the team together. The team just so subsequently is made up of ex-pros. So many of the guys became pros. And now he goes and gets this crack squad together. And now Robin Williams got to go around and convince all his ex-high school teammates who are no longer in form to play high school football, right?
They did not become pros.
No, not at all. So it all hinges on, they go, listen, if Kurt Russell plays, we'll play. And Kurt Russell's like, I'm not playing. It's done. I'm over. We're not going to do it. And he goes, besides, I don't want to tell him, my arm's done. I can't even throw a football anymore. So it's not going to happen.
Not a knee injury, an elbow injury.
Elbow.
Yeah.
Arm. Shoulder.
Shoulder. Yeah.
Robin Williams is so determined because he's got to redeem himself that he dresses up as the mascot of the other school and vandalizes the town.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So that everyone gets upset with the other school. Go, look what they did. And we got to play them now. We got to play them to get revenge on our town. But it was Robin Williams who did it.
Oh, wow. Do you know this?
You know it's him. You know he's done it. And now they start training. But of course, those shenanigans happen. You know, I keep having the cuts of all the pro guys, and they're all in their 40s and 50s, but they're like ex-pros.
Yeah.
And they're way better. Great uniforms, great training, and then the schlubs in the town, the loser town. And it kind of follows this progression. There's a weird scene where there's a lot of implication that there's going to be wife swapping because...
Wow, I did not expect that.
Kurt Russell's wife leaves him because she's tired of him promising and nothing ever happening. And Robin Williams' wife is tired of him because he's a loser and is only where he is because of his dad. And she can't stand that he's obsessed with this game.
Yes.
He's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And both wives leave the husbands because they're friends. And then there's a dinner party reunion scene where everyone's having fun, getting a bit drunk. There's insinuation that there's something going to happen on between them. But Robin Williams fucks the whole thing up because he's watching football through the TV and then ruins it. And now ruins a chance to get back with his wife or whatever. So now that comes to the game. And the game starts exactly as you think it's going to be.
Yep.
They beat the shit out of the other guys.
Of course.
They just beat them. And then Robin Williams comes clean and goes like, it was me that fucked up the town. I did it. Triggers Kurt Russell. He's like, fuck this shit. Makes him so angry he starts playing the game of his life. And they claw it back 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 to the final play of the game. We're now one touchdown away from winning. Kurt Russell's got the ball.
Oh, God.
Guess who's open, Dori?
I could not imagine.
Guess.
Can't possibly guess.
Just take a guess.
Robin Williams?
He's open. Kurt Russell throws it. Slow motion.
And then the credits come up.
Lights. That's cruel. That's very cruel. What do you think happens?
He catches it.
He catches it. Redemption song. Redemption. And everybody lives happily ever after. Wives come, swap them. Fantastic. Great town. And the town for one night, no longer the losers. The next day they're losers again, but for one night.
But hopefully they stop bullying Robin Williams after that.
No, Robin Williams brings it on himself.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't know. He probably becomes the hero again. And but the thing is, as I was retelling you the story, it's actually quite a cute story. It's like, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You've seen it 1,000 times before.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's a fantastic actor. A lot of good actors in this. The football's really good, actually. But there are points where they don't know what to do, so they just let Robin Williams run free. And you've seen that. Like, it's just sometimes it goes, it's just a bit much.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm a fan, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's. I think if they kind of like, and I don't think you can restrain Robin Williams.
But they could have edited.
Oh, they would have made a mess. We would have ended up with monkey shines. So that is my movie, The Best of Times. Fun fact, I want to give you a fun fact.
Please.
Is that you're talking about Jason Bateman and Teenage Stars. Is Jason Bateman plays Kurt Russell's, not Jason Bateman, Kirk Cameron plays Kurt Russell's son, right?
Okay.
And there is also a girl who's around, a school friend of theirs, played by Tracy Gold.
Oh, wow.
So by the time they released the movie, the two of them were siblings in growing pains. But at the time, nobody knew who they were. But they were shooting the book about to become stars.
What year did this movie come out?
This movie came out in 1985 or 86.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, Robin Williams and Kurt Russell were both big stars. They were both big stars by then. So the fact that like nobody would have heard this, I think the fact of trying to think of Robin Williams as an athlete,
that's probably the stretch.
You know, it is. That's probably what gets you. But anyway, that is the movie, The Best of Times. Put it on in the background. You know what? Actually, not that bad a movie. Now that I think about it.
Now that you've relived it.
Yeah, but still, it's not fetish enough. I need.
Sure.
Yeah. Next week I'll go.
You need more hardcore, hey?
Next week I'm going dark. Oh, I've got to go so dark next week.
I'm scared.
You know, a few weeks ago, we spoke about the Thompson Twins video game.
Yes.
Remember that? go back, listen to that episode. Check it out, that 80 Show essay on Facebook. Pop the video up there. They weren't the only band in the 80s who did a video game. Journey, of all people, popped up with a video game, right? I love the story around this. So there was a guy who they called the kind of godfather of modern video games. Of arcade games. Modern arcade games in the 80s.
Yes.
Not modern arcade games today.
Yeah.
And he invented like what we knew as arcade games and kind of was the guy who just knew it. He just kind of pioneered a lot of the stuff that was going on. His name was Ralph Baer. And he was also working for a toy company making a lot of toys at the time. He made the Simon, the electric game. Doot with the colors. He made that. Yeah, he made that. So he was an engineer and listen to this story. I got to read it. So he invented a relatively low-cost digital camera that could be installed in arcade games to take pictures of players who got high scores. So you're playing the arcade game, you're playing Contra, Pac-Man, Bubble. You get the high score, you can take a photo, and it puts your photo in the arcade game.
Cool.
Think of that in the 80s.
Yes.
I mean, that's what Dori thinks. You think of it now, I can do 80s, holy shit, how do you do that so quickly? All right, so he invented this thing. So Midway, which made like all the big arcade games, they loved the idea and they said, that is awesome. Could you put this on players in the game? And he's like, yeah, I could probably do that. So this is amazing. So they now install a prototype to go, okay, let's figure this out. And it was on a game called Domino Man. Never heard of it. And they test out games. So they go to arcades, put a game in there and test it, see are they going to roll it out. So as the story goes, day one, the test went great. An otherwise under-the-radar game drew an audience and the test looked to be a success. On the second day, someone pulled up a chair and stood on it, dropped their pants, waved to the camera, and the test was over. It was the most obvious result in human history.
Why am I not surprised?
Oh, God, I love it. So now they're like, okay, shit, well, we've got to do anything about it. But they said, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. We have to use the technology. We've signed contracts. So at the same time, Midway, the games company, had made a deal with Journey to develop a video game for them. Right?
Weird.
So out of someone waving their willy at a video game, we ended up with the Journey video game.
Okay.
So the graphics are so weird to look at. It's these like little sprite video. It's actually very modern looking, actually. So you know when you get these like retro pixelated video games,
yep,
that are like kind of to look like 80s arcade games. It looks like that, but from then, you know. So it's little black and white photos of all 5 members of Journey's heads on these little characters.
So funny.
Okay, I'll post up a photo on that 80 Show SA Facebook page, but I'm going to show Dori, like, just pop on your glasses, look at that. You see, it's like a black and white ID photo of Steve Perry on this like little body of
That's hilarious.
a video game, right?
It's like someone collaging. Like,
yes.
Like a bad collage.
Yes,
literally.
right? So the video game each level is based on a Journey song. Okay.
You're okay.
And whatever that means, right? I've watched a couple of videos of this game. Like, it's really silly.
They have more than 2 songs? No, I'm joking.
Well,
I'm joking.
There's 6. But it's like there's no Sherry. Obviously, there's none of the slow song, none of the ballads.
Yes.
Okay. But each track, each level is now accompanied by a little MIDI 80s arcade sounding style version of that song, right? So I got all of them, but I'm going to play you the Don't Stop Believing version.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That's the one.
So this is what you're going to hear. I think for you to want to, like, I love Don't Stop Believing. I love Journey. I love Steve Perry. I think these levels you're going to want to finish in so quick because this has got to be so annoying. Okay. Let's take a listen to the arcade version from the Journey video game of Don't Stop Believing.
That is very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Hurts the ears a bit.
It's very sharp. I should have put a bit of a warning up
A
front.
little bit out of key.
It's played in and in the level is suddenly the character doesn't look like a Journey person. Let's turn that down. Suddenly the character doesn't doesn't have that head. It's just like this back view of a little character walking and trying to avoid. Oh, he's on a journey.
Sure.
And he hasn't stopped believing because he's walking through all the villains, the ghouls. The video game goes down as one of these really bizarre things in the golden age of arcade games.
I mean, if you don't like Journey, you're not going to want to play this game because it's like bad versions of the songs you already don't like.
And if you do like Journey, you won't want to play the game because why are you doing it? You know? But it's just another oddity that on that 80s show.
That is weird.
That oddie show.
Show.
That is us. Dori, there is a show floating around. I'm going to start watching it. Okay, I've been convinced. It's called Rivals.
Okay.
Have you not heard about it?
I haven't.
It's on Disney Plus.
That explains why I haven't heard of it.
Now, the only thing about it is, you know my criteria for watching anything. Set in the 80s, sub 30 minutes, I'm all over it.
Right.
Okay?
Boobs?
Boobs. That's the thing about Rivals. It's been compared to the fantastic bonkathons that'll make you reminisce of Dynasty, Dallas, Falcon's Crest, Knots Landing, and Santa Barbara.
Okay.
But it's set in Britain.
Oh.
It's set in Britain in the 1980s. It follows around a group of aristocrats from the 1980s. Okay? All rich people, all poncy, all bonking each other. Apparently, it is a non-stop bonk fest. So I'm going, like you quite rightly say, under 30 minutes, set in the 80s, boobs. I think it's got a lot of boobs, which will counter the under 30 minutes. The one thing that caught me is the showrunner says that when they went and started doing the knitwear in particular, their cameras couldn't cope with the bright colors. Because they had to be they were like, we're going to be so authentic. The showrunner collected, bought all his magazines that he used to collect from the 80s and gave it to the stylists and said, make everyone look like this.
David Tennant's in it.
Well, okay, see, that sounds like somebody you know.
How do you not know who David Tennant is?
I know the name. See, Dori, Dori, I know soccer players. I know sports people.
Okay, fair enough.
I know sports people.
Huh. This looks watchable.
Yeah, so it is on Disney Plus. I know you don't have Disney Plus, Dori,
no.
but they don't crack down on password sharing.
Okay.
So just give a shout.
Also, they're not BBC.
Yes, exactly. So here's the thing. We get excited about it. It's about the 80s. We know we're going to see some outrageous fashions and jerseys and things like that. Can you imagine putting an 80s style jersey on HD, right? What it's going to do. What always gets us, Dori, is a soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to go through episode by episode.
Ooh.
Episode 1, Addicted to Love, Give Me All Your Lovin' by ZZ Top. You Can Call Me Al, All Amour, Just Can't Get Enough, Depeche Mode.
Wow.
Episode 2, Dog Eat Dog by Adam and the Ants. Slave to Love, Brian Ferry. And he's actually back in the charts because of the show.
I'm sure.
Chaz and Dave, they used to do novelty songs. The song they did called Rabbit, and Situation by Yazoo. Love Action by Human League. The Look of Love, Lady in Red, We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off, which they do. Happy House by Susie and the Banshees, and Avalon by Roxy Music. Then episode 4 seems to be set in the 60s because a lot of 60s songs.
Oh, so like a flashback episode.
Yeah,
okay.
Right? Episode 5, Everywhere Wants to Rule the World, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, White Riot by The Clash, Don't Leave Me This Way by the Communards, and Country Boy. I can't say I'm familiar with that. And then episode 6 seems to be set in Spain because a lot of Spanish songs, but they are so balls to the wall, authentically 80s. They have Julio Iglesias singing an Italian song, right? Oh. Singing in Italian.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the series ends. Must be the final song, Call Me by Blondie. That is Rivals. It is on Disney Plus. I'm in. I am in.
Me too.
I am in.
I'm definitely watching it.
Music, bright jerseys. You had me. We'll report back on that when we start watching it.
Yep.
And then, of course, we cannot finish off the show. The Hoff. So
what is the Hoff doing now?
The Hoff does the most fantastic things. Was with my friends over the weekend and we're talking about electric cars. All right?
As you do.
Yeah, my friends from Australia, cousin Louis was with here, just recently come back from Australia. They're talking about electric cars. Everyone's got an electric car there.
Really?
Yeah, it's more common.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite novel. Not many. And they're talking about electric cars. I was like, cool, what's going on? And I was like, would I get an electric car? They're very expensive in South Africa. They're expensive everywhere. They're very expensive in South Africa. They're nice. I wouldn't mind an electric car. People say power's great, does great things for the environment. Love it. But I want an electric car called a Rivian, Dori. And let me tell you why. Because they got me. Cars these days don't have dials or dashboards or panels. It's screens, right? Everything's on a screen.
Sure. I drive an old car, but I believe you.
So do I. But you've seen cars nowadays. They're just going to everything's on a dials on a screen. Everything's electronic. So this Rivian in particular, you can do updates, right? And what they did for Halloween have released 2 updates. So the first one is a Back to the Future update. So you can download for your car to look like the inside of the DeLorean.
That's pretty cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the DeLorean. It's got all the buttons. So you're in the DeLorean and you got a little companion app goes with it. And then of course for Halloween, they release the Knight Rider version. And the ad to go with it is David Hasselhoff dressed as Michael Knight. Again, 2 months ago, he was doing something with Google about responsible, environmentally friendly gaming as Michael Knight. Now he's as Michael Knight. And then he's looking in the desert, because that's where he was, and he sees the little light of Kit, the red light approaching him. And he goes, I'll post this up, that 80 Show SA Facebook page. He goes, hey, old buddy, I've missed you. In only the way a Hoff can. And as it comes in, it's not Kit, it's the Rivian. And then you get inside, it looks like Kit inside. And then he gets in, and then off it drives. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Oh, I want a Rivian, Dori.
Yeah, but that's not a good enough reason to want it. I'm sorry. I mean, it's great, but then aren't you going to get bored of it eventually?
Am I going to get bored of driving Kit? The only thing that'll throw me is the steering wheel. It's not Kit's steering wheel. Kit had that
yeah.
Dori, am I going to get bored of sitting inside Kit?
What will the next update be?
It's got turbo boost buttons. It's got turbo boost,
Oh,
Dori.
wow. Okay. Okay, you sold me.
It talks like Kit in the car.
But it doesn't...
Well, a Kit sounded like
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
Dori, how would I get... I would be unbearable. I would be unbearable thinking I'm Michael Knight. Unbearable.
Do they have these cars here? I'm guessing no.
No, and they're $45,000 for the entry level, which I'm sure doesn't get the update. Okay.
Yeah.
This has been That 80 Show. Dori, we made it through the robots, didn't you hear us?
No.
I'm not afraid of
we
them.
don't know yet.
Where are they? I don't see them. I'm not worried. There's no electricity in Joburg again today. So where are they charging? Where are they charging everything that we spoke about on the show today? The robots, a listing of robots that I know will protect us. I didn't even get into Optimus Prime or Voltron, because they're too big.
Yeah.
I wanted like normal sized robots.
Yes.
They'll stomp on Elon Musk's killbots. American Psycho remake, we're not into it.
No.
But we did return videotapes. We're always you got a fine. Couldn't go back. Were you ever banned from Video Store?
Nope.
For not returning? Oh, good. Well done. Very diligent of you. We're very scared of that.
Yes.
Because they knew where you lived.
Yep.
And they would come to your house, I'm pretty sure.
And we always rewound.
Good People Journeys video game. We slept on that. And it's just the human truth. All great inventions, even killbots, start because somebody showed their willy. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.